Good morning. Day 3. How's it going so far? Energy high? Ready for the excitement tonight? Excellent. So we're going to be talking about 3 hard lessons of Zero Trust deployments. My name's John Spiegel. I'm part of the Office of the CTO here at HPE Networking. We are a collection of industry executives. We have been on the front lines, practitioners, network engineers, managers, directors. We've run large organizations. Our goal really is to help you be successful in some of these harder digital transformations, security transformations. We spend a lot of time on the front lines. We take what we learned, the successes, the failures. We talk to people on a regular basis. We take their information and collect it together. And then we distribute it to you. The lessons I'm going to be talking about are based on over 200 interviews I've had with CISOs, with security directors, network managers, VP of infrastructure, the analyst community, as well as the founders, the people that developed the concept of Zero Trust. So that's what we're going to be talking about, helping you be successful in Zero Trust. All right, got to put this up. If I say something wrong, the lawyers can disavow me, so read it. All right, and your feedback. If you like it, please, more feedback. We can do more of these topics that are relevant to you, so please provide the feedback. All right, so let's get into it. Zero Trust. We hear it a lot. We've heard it a lot at HPE Discover. Any conference you go to, security, networking, the term will come up. It's been around now for about 16 years. But when I have conversations with those on the front line, the CISOs, the security directors, the network engineers, the security directors, these are what I hear. Some people will say, when I ask them how your Zero Trust program's going, we're halfway. We're living on a prayer. Well, something happened there. It's on the roadmap somewhere as a common conversation. Coming out of the 2020s, this is another one. We renamed our VPN and called it Zero Trust. Here's another one too. Zero Trust is a team sport, and we're still picking teams. Rarely do I hear this one. We nailed it. We're the unicorns. Here's the challenge. 60 to 70% of Zero Trust initiatives stall and fail to reach maturity. Not a good number. Only 20% are successful. The research I wanted to do was understand why. What is so difficult about Zero Trust? What makes it hard for an organization to adopt it? When in the era of AI, of threats, now Mythos, post-quantum, this is a strategy you need to implement. Zero Trust in the past, kind of optional. Today, it is non-optional. You should be doing it. All right, so why? Lesson number 1. Zero Trust. How does it make you feel? When I was first introduced to the topic, my director called me and he said, I read this paper. I read this article about Google. I want you to read it, understand it, and implement it. How did it make me feel? It made me feel like everything I had learned in the past was wrong. I also felt like this was like a full firewall employment project. I was going to be at the front lines deploying firewalls all over my organization. It was going to break things. It was going to slow things down, generate more trouble tickets. I resisted it. So why? What is the most important thing when you're introducing Zero Trust? It's the verbiage. It's the communication. It's not the technology. It's not because it's wrong. It's really about how you introduce the topic, how you communicate it to the business, your stakeholders, your leadership. Some key things I learned in my interviews. Focus on the why, not the buzzword. Don't focus on the framework. Don't talk tech. Don't talk about segmentation. Don't talk about MFA. Explain the why to your stakeholders. Put it in their terms. Say, for instance, if you're working with a salesperson, you want to put it in terms that they will understand. Put it in sales speak. Don't talk tech. Don't talk technology. Don't talk frameworks. Really what you're doing at the end of the day is you're trying to protect your business, the crown jewels, the mechanisms that make the money for the business. You need to follow the dollar. You need to understand how your organization operates. Where's the risk? What happens if this system goes down? What happens if ransomware takes over a segment of your network? Can it traverse everything? Lateral movement? The other thing you need to think about is when you put in controls for zero trust, you need to do it in such a way that you're having empathy for the employees. You need to make sure that you are not increasing the friction. In fact, you want to reduce the friction. Zero trust done right should allow the business to move faster. It should allow the business to partner securely with third parties. The other thing you need to be thinking about is partnering. Zero trust is not a security program. It's not something security should put down on the business and say, thou must do. It's actually something you've got to partner with. You've got to reach across the aisle. You've got to break the silos of IT. So, key thing, focus on the why, communicate, understand how the business operates, speak in terms of who you're trying to talk with so they get the why. And always be thinking about the end user experience. Have empathy for them. Reduce the friction. So that's the key thing. Zero trust as a strategy is the right one, but you got to explain it. And you may not even want to use the term zero trust. All right, so lesson 2. How many projects are part of zero trust? This is another question I ask when I'm out consulting with CISOs and CIOs. Is it one massive transformation? Is it 3 to 5 large initiatives? Is it 10 to 20 smaller projects? More often than not, here's what I hear. We're still trying to figure it out. Zero trust is very much like a home renovation project. If you do it all at once, you're likely to fail. And oftentimes when I'm consulting with leaders, this is what happens. They fall into the waterfall trap. They think about it as one large transformation project. They go out and buy a product. The vendor promises them zero trust. And inevitably, that process takes time. 3 months, 6 months. Maybe they've implemented part of it. Maybe they haven't. The challenge here, though, is leadership is watching them. The CFO, the CEO, they want results. They don't want results in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. They want results in weeks or months. Therefore, if you're thinking about doing a zero trust project, don't think in terms of waterfall. Think in terms of agile, small bites, small projects, quick wins. Look at where you have context and control. Leverage that. The other thing is, as a leader, if you are a leader in the room and you're looking at running a zero trust project, you've got to make room for failure because it's going to happen. Not everything you implement is going to be successful. Not every control you put into place isn't going to break the business. Maybe it's MFA you're putting in, and your users say, hey, too many prompts. This is very difficult for me. Or maybe the executive team says, we don't need that MFA. We're trusted. Be very conscious of that as you're looking at implementing a project. Segmentation is another area that can trip you up. Segmentation can be hard. It's a hard thing to break your network into various bites and chunks. You're going to break things. So if you're a leader out there, look at your team. Let them know that they can fail. But if they're going to fail, they have to fail fast and they have to learn from it. The other thing is, as you look at that project list, you're going to adjust the course at times. Again, learning from the failures. Maybe that worked, maybe that didn't. Maybe that product was right at the time, maybe now it isn't. So keep that in mindset. And the agile mindset is key. Leverage that. All right, so what does that look like? What are the work streams? Who are the people that you need to involve in your project? Obviously, you need the business, the leadership, the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the CISO. They need to be involved in that project. You also have other work streams. Zero Trust touches all aspects of infrastructure, and it should touch all aspects of the business. Identity, devices, network, applications, data, extremely critical. At the end of the day, you also need to put in for visibility and automation. So where should you start? And here's two paths that I've learned. If you're a traditional company, you've been around for a while, you have a little bit of infrastructure in a private data center, you have some old legacy mainframes, perhaps SAP, still on-prem, a traditional strategy would kind of look like this. Focus first on identity, MFA, privileged accounts. Lots of people go wrong there. If you have administrators and you don't have privileged accounts or the MFA is not associated with it, that's a great place to start. More and more ransomware attacks are leveraged because the bad guys get in, the administrators are using their own accounts, and guess what? They get popped. Device trust is another way to start. Putting the devices on the network, putting a certificate on them, understanding what is on your network, assets is key. Then start to look at VPN, remote access. Over 40% of ransomware attacks are leveraging VPN, whether that's through identity or through device vulnerability. ZTNA is the way to fix that. LAN segmentation. Great place to start working with. If you're an Aruba customer, a Juniper customer, an HPE customer, we can make that easy for you. Segmentation is non-optional in the age of AI. Then start to look at your applications, microsegment. This is where it really gets hard because now you've got applications involved and downtime. Spend some time there. Look at legacy applications. Maybe something on a mainframe, put ZTNA in front of it. If you're a cloud-first organization, again, MFA, understand your users. SSO everywhere, you're likely to have that. But the controversial one is deploy ZTNA. I work with cloud organizations, cloud-first organizations. They're like, I don't need ZTNA, I don't need VPN. My users go to the cloud. All right, do you have visibility? Do you have context? Do you have control? Not really. ZTNA's a great place to start there. Then look at device posture. Make sure those devices are up to speed. They're at a bar. Look at CASB, SSPM. And then data security, very critical for those cloud-first organizations. So, how you sequence your projects, quick wins to start with, learn, iterate, then start to do the hard stuff. All right, last lesson. And this is probably the most critical one. Companies are looking for perfection. 100% zero trust. That's difficult to do. Perfection, at the end of the day, key piece, key differentiator between companies that have had success with zero trust, have reached that maturity phase, that 20%, that unicorn. What does it come down to? Leadership. Leadership. Vision. Putting in the air cover for the employees. Allowing them to fail fast. Leadership, at the end of the day, separates those that stall and those that succeed. Common problems I hear in this perfection area is we're still designing it. We're still mapping all the applications, maybe 1,000 applications. If we don't have the applications, we can't move forward. Once we clean up identity, identity is a challenge, but don't wait. Applications. We have to start with one application. No, that's not where you start. The most important thing is to take the first step forward. If you can't take the first step forward on a journey, you're never going to get to where you need to be. So that is one of the critical lessons. So I'm going to leave you with this. Again, the final lesson is solid leadership. The truth is, there will never be 100% zero trust. There's only the next deliberate decision, the next privileged reduced, the next boundary reinforced, the next assumption that you and your team will challenge. Technology, we all know this. We're living in this age of transformation. Technology will change. Threats, though, will evolve. They will become more challenging, more difficult, more sneaky. And AI is going to accelerate that. So leadership, that posture cannot change. You need to lead deliberately. You need to sustain patiently, continuously improve. And if you do that right, you will have success in your zero trust journey. It never ends, it's continuous, and it is non-optional in this age of AI. So I want to thank you, and hopefully you will have success on your zero trust journey.